Alright, well, time for a little mini journey. I could be traveling a loop from southeastern Montana west through Wyoming. You'd be going to a place called Bear Canyon, another place called Devil's Kitchen. And the way on this loop, I saw a state park that I'm kind of walking through right now. That was one of the battlefields that occurred in eastern Montana during the Plains Indians Wars in the 1800s. And this is a place called Rosebud Battlefield. And this was one of the locations where there were conflicts between the US military and different tribes that were allied together. In this particular case, the Lakota Sioux and Northern Cheyenne. And so, by and large, this battlefield is preserved as the ways it would have appeared. Many of the same plants, rocks and trees and such are relatively unchanged over time. So this is one of the locations that these wars were fought in. So I'm going to go wander and explore and see what stuff I can find out here. Listen to those old stories. This small, unassuming park was the site of one of the largest battles to have ever occurred on the plains. A group of 1,000 US soldiers and Crow and Shoshone scouts, intent on attacking a group of Sioux and Northern Cheyenne villages, was intercepted by 1,500 warriors. Fighting lasted 8 hours, during which the remarkable event that gave the battle its Northern Cheyenne name occurred. During the battle, a Northern Cheyenne chief named Cumson Sight had his horse break a leg and was met with gunfire from the US forces. His sister, Buffalo Calf Road Woman, saw her brother exposed as the other riders retreated and galloped towards him to extract him from the battlefield. The two on the woman's horse were shot at, but neither were hit. The event rallied the native warriors and they forced a retreat from the US Army. Long before the battle, the sandstone cliffs were used as buffalo jumps for tribal peoples, whose petroglyphs can still be seen today. In places like this, history feels profoundly alive, as though the wars on the plains never truly ended and their memories are right at hand. Even in the silence of the plains, there are epic stories to be heard and listened to in wonder. Walking through this battlefield area, one of the things that really strikes me, beyond just the history involved and sensing what the place may have been like and what happened here, is just how varied the vegetation is. What ecologists call heterogeneous, where there's not just kind of one species of grass or just some sagebrush. There's grasses of all sorts of different lengths and species and patches, and there are all these tiny little bits of sagebrush that are growing upward. And it's such an odd thing because so much of eastern Montana has been grazed and often overgrazed, and you just have a completely different landscape in the same places. And so the interesting thing about the preservation of this place as a historic battlefield, I'm trying to avoid walking into some holes out here, is that it's also preserved the place as an ecological spot where you might see what the plains are more likely to have looked like in that past. And so the footage of this video is giving you a glimpse in some way to the 1800s in more ways than one. After visiting the battlefield, I worked my way into Wyoming's Bighorn Mountains, a mountain range formed 70 million years ago, whose name comes from a crow story of a bighorn sheep with metal horns. The Bighorn Mountains are a marvel of geology. with layers of rock spanning hundreds of millions of years pushed upward by the Earth's titanic forces. 9,600 feet above sea level, the Bighorn Mountains are home to the Bighorn Medicine Wheel, an ancient constructed ring of stones held sacred by native tribes. The age of the Bighorn Medicine Wheel is uncertain, though Crow oral history and archaeological evidence both suggest that they were created long before the arrival of the Crow people whose ancestral land it occupies. In some ways, the Medicine Wheel acts as an astronomical calendar used to keep track of the solstice and other events in the skies. The 28 rings in the wheel are thought to correspond to the 28 days of the lunar calendar. Visiting the wheel and walking around it, it was clear that this is a very special place. My visit to the Medicine Wheel completed, I drove west and marveled at the epic beauty of the Bighorns. After camping out on BLM land by the highway, I woke to a beautiful sunrise and prepared my planned visit to Devil's Kitchen, an incredible Badlands formation by Grable, Wyoming. Alright, well I am at a place that for pretty obvious reasons they call Devil's Kitchen by Grable, Wyoming. And it's just this kind of pit of Badlands that just all of a sudden has all these just utterly alien features, these reds and yellows and whites and just this strange looking landscape. And so today I'm gonna drop down into it and explore it. I'm gonna fly my drone around by air and check out some of the patterns and colors and all those amazing things. And all in all, just kind of do some exploring at this amazing geological place. Fiery rock layers exposed in Devil's Kitchen were formed by ancient river systems 120 million years ago. Stepping into Devil's Kitchen is like stepping into an alien world, where the surrounding plant life disappears and you enter the Earth's domain.
The outcrops in Devil's Kitchen are incredibly rugged, giving the appearance of glowing red teeth. When in Devil's Kitchen, you almost feel lost in the colors, as though you've entered a different dimension where the landscape is painted by fire. Even signs of humans feel otherworldly. Devil's Kitchen is a remarkable place to explore and truly emphasizes the epic nature of our planet, even in hidden corners of the West. Still amazed by the place, I made my way out of the pit and worked my way to Bear Canyon.
Alright, well, last major stop for this kind of mini trip I'm doing before getting my tattoo on the 15th in western Montana. So I'm currently in southern Montana at a place called Bear Canyon. And as you can see, there are this really cool kind of sandstone rock features throughout it. And apparently a lot of these rock layers actually contain things called Bear Canyon agates, amongst other rocks that are just beautiful with these gorgeous crystals on the inside. Apparently it's a rockhound's dream. So I'm stoked to get in there and explore a bit, fly my drone around and just see some cool stuff.
Bear Canyon in the Pryor Mountains of southern Montana is a beautiful rustic canyon with juniper-covered mountain walls rising above the dry plains. Deep within the rock walls, Bear Canyon is home to the famous Bear Canyon agates, gorgeous black rocks with shining white crystals inside. I set off up the canyon walls to find them. The path up the canyon was not easy, requiring smart route finding around sections of cliff, but the steep hike up the walls was well worth it, resulting in an incredible view of the canyon from above, and, up there, was time to look for rocks.
Alright, well this is my first example of a Bear Canyon agate. So basically, there's this kind of crystal layer on the inside. They're often almost hollow, and they've got just all of these kind of shiny white crystals on the inside, kind of a black to white exterior, and then these just beautiful crystals on the inside.
Looking into the stunning valley below, I couldn't help but feel grateful to live in such wild places. The West is for wandering, and I'm a Westerner at heart. trip down the canyon walls was also full of wonders. Next video, I begin a week-long journey through Montana, ending with a tattoo meant to commemorate the western wilds and the deep, profound nature of my wanderings. Please subscribe to follow these journeys. Until then, everyone, wander in wonder.